my journey is crazy, even further than that. Like I said, like getting into hip hop at 13, and living in the States. All the time I was in the South Side of Chicago, I was going back to Africa. So I didn't know like a lot of other states or anything like that. I knew Chicago and I knew Cameroon. Wow. So I would know like Chicago South Side or whatever place around Chicago, and I would know like, hey, this little village town in the middle of Africa, I would go back and stay with my grandmother, stay with my cousins, and just like, you know, quote unquote, be the man in this little village, and just be like, wow, so this was my world. And that's all I knew about it. One time I meet my cousin when we're back there, because most people who are immigrants, they go back home around Christmas time. So what you'll have happen in Cameroon, or you have happen in most immigrant countries, is you have like an influx of people who are like the hyphens. So you have like a bunch of Cameroonian Americans come in there with a bunch of French Cameroonians, come in there with a bunch of German Cameroonians, Italian. So because all these immigrants come in for Christmas time. So you literally go to parties and lounges and clubs, and you're sitting there and you're just like, man, like tables against one another, because you got a little bit of foreign money and you want to ball out and just be like, oh, this is us over here. This is the world I'm living in, and just seeing this. So I didn't know anything about the outside world. I meet my cousin, and when you're coming from a developing country, the first place you get a visa outside, you go, because that's the opportunity to get that bread, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just like immigrant mentality. My cousin's in Israel, and he's like, yeah, man, you know, I've been in Israel for a long time. You should come and you should visit me. I'm like, word? It's like, yeah, I only knew that. I didn't know anything else. So I'm like, all right, I got a Christmas break from school. What am I going to do? Am I just going to sit around Chicago? It was cold. I Googled a couple of pictures to see what it was looking like. I was like, all right, this is interesting. I got on a plane. I was in Israel. I stayed with him in a city called Haifa. Haifa. It's like in the north of Israel. Yeah. Beautiful experience. And then from there, it was just like, I fell in love with the place immediately. Again, coming from this like sheltered, closed little, you know what I'm saying? Like these, I knew this other African family, but coming, I'm like, what? This world over here? This is crazy. That's wild. I just jump into the middle of it. I'm like, what are you guys eating? What is that? Word, you smoking hash? Okay, that's cool. What's this? I mean, just beautiful experiences, beautiful people. Wow. And really, that was like my catalyst to just be like, what else is out there in the world? Like most people will take like a gap year before they go to university. I went to university, then I was like, all right, let me take a gap. All right, let me figure out how to make some money, and then take a gap and just keep on going and expand. And then, you know, that's essentially how I got into my traveling journey. And I would leave the country and come back to New York or come back to Chicago. Like I would say, I'd leave the country, come back like after a year, and be like, okay. But then I would like, and also coming from like a dual citizenship background, it's like I have cousins, because of everyone leaving because of the immigration situation. I have family damn near everywhere in Europe and in Asia. So for me, my situation leaving isn't like, oh, I have to go spend money. No, it's like, okay, which one of these cousins can I hit up really quick who's over there and who has a spot? Oh, you have a spot? Word, I can get a little part-time job or do something? Bet, I'm gonna go over there right now. So my situation was different. You know, so I got to see a lot of the world, and then just like had the world pretty much like beat me over the head with all this different stuff, you know. I came back, I remember, and I'm sitting at the house, at my parents' house, and like, you know, after you've had the world and you've seen so many different things and you experienced these different foods, I went out and I was in Turkey, so I went out and I got this like Turkish soup, and I'm sitting there in the kitchen and I'm eating it at my parents' house, and then my brother just walks in, he just looks at me like, and he looks at the soup and he's looking at me like it's crazy. I'm like, yeah, because we don't eat soup. You know what I mean? Like, what? He's just looking at me like, yeah, this nigga's been around the world. That's crazy. You know, just little things like that. I'm sitting there like,
so we don't eat. He worried about the soup. He like, don't eat soup. So how many countries you think you've been to?
No, I know I've been about 50.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, I've seen about 50, and because of that experience, it's actually what's helped me build my company and get so many crazy opportunities. I was at Harvard like a week ago, like based off of that, which was just insane. You know, opportunities which I've gotten, which I could never apply for, which I've gotten because of this. You know, I've worked for the Republican Party. I've also worked for the Democratic Party in terms of content creation. and not just filming in terms of input on campaigns. I've worked on about 7 different political campaigns in the United States now, Republican representatives and Senate, senatorial races for Democrats. I'm not going to say any names because I don't want nobody to look at me like I'm crazy. But,
Yeah.
Or be supportive.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
Got you.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff like that,
That's
including
crazy,
New York
man.
City as well.
What would you say is like your job title? Like, what are you?
I have so many hyphens at this point, man.
Yeah.
And you can't just say content creator. At this point, I am everything. No, at this point, I am.
Just turn
I'm
around.
a filmmaker.
Just turn around.
Just turn around.
Yeah. You're a professional one.
At this point, my job. Let's just put it like, yo,
That's what we do.
Okay, at this
Once you
point-
start adding a bunch of hyphens,
yeah,
that's why you're here.
professional winner.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, at this point, I think that my job title will be I'm a professional winner.
Exactly.
Fire.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. You know, and it's just it's Bumper Clock gunshot. Yeah, me can't play the game now.